Hi there, beautiful souls watching. Welcome and thank you. I'm Gabrielle, retired medium in Germany, and I like to share some of my otherworldly experiences and insights. So, this one is about family constellations. Years and years ago, before I discovered that I'm a medium, I was interested in inner work and finding out more about me and who I am, the big big three questions of humanity. Where do you come from? Who are you? And where do you go to? So, about who I am, I tried to find out with a kind of psychological method that's called family constellation. And it works like that you have a psychotherapist or somebody facilitating that in a group session, and you choose representatives for your family members, and you start with your family of origin, means father, mother, siblings, and if you know that there are miscarriages, they also are included and have to be represented by someone you pick from the other people from the group. And even deceased members of the family, if they are in the direct origin family, the original family of origin, so they are also put there as well with a representative. And I started with, my family of origin, and you think you choose some of the representatives by kind of outer traits that remind you of your mother or your father or your brother and so on. Well, it's not working like that. In reality, you can, without being consciously aware, you just choose a person that's kind of vibrating with the same vibration or a similar vibration, and maybe some traits even or patterns inside that some of your family members have. So I choose my father and my mother and my four siblings and a representative for myself and even for my deceased brother and for all the four miscarriages of my mother. So I nearly took up the whole group for putting up my family. And the funny thing is, you don't know in your mind how to place them in a big room, but when you just do it, it's happening like that. And when I put the last person in this family constellation onto the place where I felt it should stand there, the person should stand there in connection with all the others placed in different parts of the room, I had the feeling kind of something magnetic was like clicking in, as if some kind of, really the invisible constellation of how you are related and in which way with all the members of your family. This thing just clicked in like a magnetic noise. I could nearly hear it. And then I took a step back and I saw the whole thing. I needed no more explanations. My father, as the kind of shell shocked and war traumatized, one of the few backcomers from Stalingrad, the war with Russia, he was never really there. He had this kind of psychological guilt of the survivor, because he saw better men than him dying right beside him during the war. So he felt he didn't deserve the life, and more or less, he came back, but it was only more or less his body that came back. And I put him in one corner of the room, facing the wall, as if he wants to go outside. And that was all his longing, to be with his dead comrades from the war. He had one foot already in the beyond, let's call it like that. And my mother, she had a love before my father, her first love, that had to go to war and did not come back, so he died. And so the place of the first love was kind of occupied for my mother. That's usually not a problem if the second partner coming in can arrange and live with that he's the second and doesn't want to be the first one, you know. And I think my mother still had a lot of connections and was kind of still loving or longing for this other partner that she lost. And okay, they met, and during the war or after the war, it was kind of difficult in Germany. And well, they founded this family, but my mother was standing on the other corner of the room, facing the wall outside as well, because she was with one foot with her former love in the beyond as well. So they were not standing together like in some other constellations. They were kind of going apart to different places, and it seemed they don't wanted this life. They wanted to go outside this life. They had kind of longing for a dead person they were missing, and had one foot already on the other side. So how can you live 100% life here if you're with 50% on the other side? It's not really working. And then you have a lot of kids. That's kind of problematic as well. And all the souls choose where to incarnate, under which circumstances. And I understood why I choose this family just by looking at the whole constellation. And my two elder siblings, they were standing right in front of my mother, who wanted to go outside, facing her, as if they wanted to hold her in this life. And me and my deceased brother, we were doing the same with the father on the other side of the room, you know, standing in front of him, facing him and trying to hold him in this life. And when I saw that, I understood why my brother had this motorcycle accident when he was 16 and died from that, because he was kind of taking out of misunderstood love the task of my father, and was going to the other side instead of my father, so that my father can stay here with the family and all of us. That's some kind of misunderstanding that sometimes happens, because you incarnate in families mostly out of love, sometimes because you had some trouble in other lives and you want to fix it in this life. So out of love, my brother was going to the beyond instead of my father, so that my father could stay here. And another sister, the problematic one in our family, she was standing right in the middle between mother and father, trying to leave the scene, and the other siblings trying to hold them in life. She was kind of on the border, didn't know what to do, and she was looking left and right to mother and father, and she didn't move and couldn't do anything, and she kind of seemed confused and unable to do anything. She was kind of fixed on this border between the two happenings in this family constellation. And the first thing the facilitator said or asked me, that was really interesting. He looked at the sister in the middle, looked at me, and then he said, is she drinking alcohol or abusing drugs? And I said, why do you ask this? She's drinking, really. And he said, well, she can't do anything and she's in the most difficult position. And because she doesn't know what to do, she's trying to numb down with drugs or alcohol um, the whole problematic situation for herself. So that was a hit. What a cracker. And he was totally right without knowing anything, because you don't tell your whole story before you just start. You give a theme or an intent and focus, what you want to constellate. And because I liked the method, I went later on, not for myself, but just to learn and watch and maybe be of service for another person who needs a representative of their family members in their constellation. And so I had a lot of different experiences. I was constellated as nearly everything. And it was so interesting to see what's the invisible cause or situation sometimes behind some kind of challenge or problem, and what's the solution. I also remember once that a woman came and she was diagnosed with terminal cancer, kind of severe. And she wanted to constellate the cancer, so it was only her and a representative for the cancer. And they were kind of walking around, and you could perceive easily that she, of course, had the fear of death and all this going on. And from the cancer, I did not perceive anything negative. It was kind of always trying to come closer to the person, and she was kind of stepping back and didn't want. And in the end, they came closer, and then they embraced each other. And the woman with the severe diagnosis started crying. She was bawling out her eyes, and we all could see and perceive that once united, all the problems kind of dissolved, because the cancer had a message for her. And in this case, the cancer was, I love you, love yourself too. Why do you create something like that? All I want is that you love yourself. Wow, what a message. So I really love family constellations because there's a lot to learn. And it's very important that you change the constellation with which you start, because this first kind of image or picture is showing what's going on right now. How are the difficult relationships and positions in the family field? And the facilitator has to find a good place for everyone in the system. So he's going around asking the members or the representatives of the family members, how do you feel? What's going on? And they are just repeating, because they're in the magnetic right place, they're repeating what's the ground feeling of that family member that surely isn't conscious or aware of what's going on unconsciously, but it helps to know and get something like straight and clear words, and then you can resolve the problems by trying different things, like let the representatives say special sentences like please forgive me and things like that, or other sentences like I give back to my parents what they expected me to be in this life, to become in this life professionally or as a daughter or whatever, because it is their projection and their wish what I should be, and not mine. And it's too much for me. I'm not here in this world to fulfill their wishes. I'm here to fulfill my own soul's wishes and things like that. You can learn a lot, and I think there are also videos about family constellation in the internet. Maybe you want to have a look and you can learn from that. There is so much to learn, and nearly everything, everyone can be our teacher. So I'd like to leave you with that. So now you have a little insight about my crazy family constellation. But it's really, you don't need words. Sometimes how the things are placed or the people are placed, it's just telling everything. And that's what I love to leave you with, because the message very often is so clear right in front of our eyes, but we don't see the forest for the trees. So be aware of that and look for the forest, the bigger picture. Leave you with that. Thank you very much for sharing your time with me. Thank you, dear souls. Blessings, love, and light. Bye.